why it's called New Balance. Sponsors, if you're listening, we love your shoes.
Okay, so who wants to start? Jimmy, you want to start?
Okay.
Okay.
It's like a warm-up. What are you saying yes to now that you didn't have the courage to before?
That's funny.
Susanna's giggling. Why?
Because I would have said saying no.
Actually, yes, that's one of them. That's one of
Right.
them. Yeah, that's one of them. I would say saying yes to now, right? Literally, the reason why I was like initially kind of thinking, what is it? And then started, and then it clicked and I started smiling because it's literally doing this. Being on video, recording a podcast, recording a video, because I started doing that for work as well. And we revamped the podcast and then we started recording and all that, right? I would never have said yes to anything like that because I have such a... almost everybody would say, oh, I don't like the sound of my voice, or I don't really like to see myself on video, things like this, right? If I could be the poster child for I'll be the president of that club because I can't even stand my voice. Yeah, every time I hear my own recording, and back then obviously it wasn't easy, right, to hear your own voice because, technology and all of this, you just don't record yourself very often. But I still remember each time though I hear my own voice, like if I'm caught on, even when I was doing my fashion marketing job and then I had to be on TV one time and then after that you have to clip it and then you have to show it to the other people. It's really so painful. But now I'm like, you know what, who cares?
Yeah, you're used to it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, don't overthink. Yeah, just do it. And then now I'm like getting used to it. So
Yeah.
Yay.
yeah. I'm glad I overcame that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the idea is not to even think that you're being recorded, that you're just having a conversation with friends. Yeah.
Okay, I would say though, I lied when I say I overcame it. I would say I overcame maybe about 90%. There's still 10% of me that if I watch a playback,
You cringe?
I would cringe a bit. I would
Oh,
avert a little
really?
bit. I
Oh.
wouldn't be able to watch myself.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's a big leap for you then.
Yeah.
Hey.
Kind.
Well
Don't worry.
done.
We'll help you to overcome it.
Yeah, be kinder to myself and be less of a self-critic.
We'll force you. Yeah.
Immersion therapy.
Yes.
Okay. Susanna, you want to go next?
Okay. What's one thing you've reclaimed from who you used to be and kept on your terms? Who I used to be? Okay, if it's someone whom I used to be, it shows that I don't want to be that person anymore. Anyway, yeah, I've transformed for good. So I would not even want to reclaim who I used to be because I am not who I used to be. And sometimes I don't even recognize myself. The way I am now, the way I have finally realized who I am vis-a-vis God, the Creator, that I'm His family, I'm His child, and living according to our family covenants. Yeah, and everything else I do with family, friends, whether it's secular work or church work, it's all informed by that relationship I have come to embrace and own and fall in love with. Yeah. So I do not want to be who I used to be. Yeah.
Okay. Good one.
Thank you.
What version of balance have you stopped striving for? I don't know. I cannot put an exact pin on what it is. I guess the transition or the shift, right, for me, I think every point in life we're always like rebalancing, right, recalibrating to what is suitable right now in our lives, and so it's very hard to say, because if that version of me in the past where I tried to balance motherhood and work and all that, I mean, that was needed at that point in time. So I wouldn't say I was like stopped striving for it, because there's no need for it. So yeah, I just feel like we just need to shift every time, right? As we evolve, as we grow, our point of balance is always different. And yeah, so it's not about striving to balance whatever version of ourselves. Yeah.
That's why it's called New Balance. Sponsors, if you're listening, we love your shoes.
That's so funny. Back to you, Jimmy.
Okay. What early truths about love, power, or self has stood the test of time? I think it will probably be around, of the three, I would say self, early truth, as in, can't really pinpoint how early, but probably so kind of like growing up, I think I was always more of a I've always been called an old soul growing up as a child, growing up, and then also emotionally attuned. So I remember, and probably just again my own personal kind of growing up experience, there's a lot of like self-protection and things like that, right? And then undergoing bullying and things like this. I remember coming to that conclusion myself that you have the power within yourself, that unless you give it up, nobody can take that away from you. And obviously back then, as a child growing up, it wasn't so articulate. It was just something about, okay, and if as long as you don't give in or give up to an external, in this case like an external person, right, then like you'll be fine. Like you need to be your best advocate for yourself. And I think that has continued. So then as I grew up, even at work and things like that, and I found that has helped me. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What's one piece of advice your younger self wouldn't have understood but turned out to be true? That you don't have to like somebody to love them or love him or her. My younger self would be, I don't like you, I cannot love you. I cannot think of doing good for you. it was just inconceivable. But I've finally come to understand what that phrase really means. You don't have to be even friends with that person. That person could be arm's length. You don't even have to think about that person, but the moment he needs you to do or will something that is good for him and that you can, then you have to do it. And now I accept that I will do it, and I will peaceably do it, joyfully do it, without any grudges. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's very hard. So.
Yeah, it is very hard. It
Yeah.
is very hard. Ooh, I got a younger one as well.
Oh.
What did a younger version of you believe about joy that you are finally returning to? What did a younger version of you believe about joy? When you are 5, 6, you're still so innocent and you're feeling happy about the small things. It's so it's really unconditional. If you can get back into that space, right, of feeling like a 5-year-old or 6-year-old when you experience your most joyous moments, right? Really no strings attached. There's a feeling of lightness and freedom. And I think this is the kind of joy that went missing quite a bit, in the large part of adulthood. And I wouldn't say like it's finally returning, but it has returned in the smallest moments, and to realize that, hey, true joy really is like feeling like a child, with childlike innocence, and viewing it really with no strings attached, with this lightness and with this freedom. Yeah, that is what. Yeah. That's how I would answer the question.
Thank you. Children are very hopeful, right? And they are always so optimistic that, it will be good, it will turn out well, everything will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone will take care of it.
Yeah.
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 They don't overthink.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, should we do one more round?
Sure.
Jimmy.
What mistake from your 20s gave you a skill that still serves you now? I'm like thinking, there's a lot of mistakes. Which one? It's like the Rolodex, it's like fast forward. Like, which one is it? What mistake did I do? I think I've definitely made a lot of mistakes. I would say something that still serves me. I would say it's to... Okay, if I can shift it, I don't know if this is cheating, but if I can shift it to say 30s, right, then I have a very solid one that I can say.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we pretend and we like strike it out. It's like what mistake?
20s to 30s, yeah.
Because that one was, let me think, strictly speaking, no, strictly speaking, I was still 20s.
Nice.
Yeah, strictly speaking, I'm still 20s, late 20s, but still 20s. Okay, so the answer still stands. Okay, anyway, mistake from my 20s was being too quick to judge somebody else and to label them. And And I remember it was just one of those, it was like a new colleague, and this was Blue Ink Media. I had just joined, so it was a new colleague. I had to go for a meeting with this new colleague, and I was just slightly less new, so maybe like 2 weeks less new than this new colleague. But we had to go for a meeting together lah, an external meeting. And I remember during the initial introduction, before, you know, when this colleague joined the company, right, I had preconceived notions about the person based on like, the way the person spoke, the way the person blah 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 and all that, right? And I remembered thinking about, got to go for a meeting with this person, and it's just the two of us, right? So overthinking, preconceived notions, and all of this. And I know it's gonna sound a bit like unbelievable, but I kept dreading it all the way to the day, right? And then when on the day itself, we went for the meeting, and then after that, colleague said, "Do you want to do lunch?" And then I was thinking, oh wow, still do lunch. Already, you know, in that moment, I was like, already doing the meetings, like quite sian already, right? Still do lunch. But okay, I just told myself, just don't be so whatever, you know, just do the lunch, right? Then I did the lunch, and we had a really enjoyable conversation. And all my preconceived notions were just a lot of biases and projection, you know, kind of like what you don't like yourself to be associated with, you then sort of see it in others, that kind of thing. So I learned like, hey, don't be so quick to judge.
Yeah, good, nice.
Yeah, so it still served me very, very well. Good and bad. So even if I have preconceived notions of the person being like, oh, so nice, so this, so that, like, I would also tell myself, okay, don't be so quick to judge that is the true self. Yeah,
it works both ways, right?
It works both ways.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. Hey, what are you learning? What are you no longer willing to tolerate, even if it costs you comfort?
This is a good twist.
Bad behaviour. Yeah. Any bad behaviour from anyone, even if it means it's gonna inconvenience me to have not much to do with this person, and to kind of like remove this person from my so-called inner outer circle, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because I no longer tolerate enabling abuse, because if I let this person continue like treating me like that, then I am enabling it. And then I'm complicit to this bad behavior too. So I will no longer tolerate bad behavior and abuse.
Okay. Do you think this comes with being a midlife? With better understanding, or as we get older, our tolerance is just not there?
I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a realization of who I am. That and my father is God. My father loves me so much. He died. He sent his son to die for me. Why am I tolerating abuse? You know what I mean? He would not. Someone who died for you would not want you to tolerate bad behavior. I'm not saying that take revenge, you know. You don't have to take revenge. Turning the other cheek is not taking revenge. It's really like, I let you want to behave like that. I let you, but let me remove myself, you know? Whereas if you don't, then you'll just be a doormat. I don't think God wants us to be a doormat.
Yeah.
I know God doesn't want me to be a doormat. So
Yeah.
So I think it's more realizing who I am in the
Mm.
grand scheme of things. Yeah.
And I feel like when people understand life from a spiritual context, it's also depending on the interpretation, because sometimes people will think that being spiritual means that you have to be a doormat. So, whether is it empowered understanding or not, I think that makes it
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 That was what I was thinking. It's very empowering.
Yeah.
And this belief and living it out
Mm.
is so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
What part of you is still becoming? Even at this stage of life, every part of me still growing. There is no end to this, right? Learning new things and understanding the world very differently now. And I think what made me feel, this is just, in just this month alone, what made me feel even more inspired to do what I do is I read that we have reached a point where AI intelligence has surpassed human intelligence, which is very troubling, which means that people will become much more reliant on AI, and they're so robotic, they're not in touch with their feelings. And when you're not in touch with your feelings, you're not in touch with your soul, you're not in touch with yourself, you're not in touch with your body, you just become like a robot, and then what's the point of being human, right? The humanness in us is the ability to feel and to experience things that a robot cannot experience, or they can pretend to know how to experience, but there's no way they can, right? So it just makes me feel like, oh my God, like I really need to continue to do what I do to help people to get out of numbness, because the world has become really, really numb. The endless indulgence in whether it's food, alcohol, cigarettes, any kind of drugs, social media, anything to numb themselves, people will do it. And they're so out of touch with their feelings, with their, spiritual part of themselves. And so this is the thing right now that's making me feel like, I really need to, to kind of inspire me to just keep on keeping on, just keep on doing. Because people need it whether they know it or not.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.